You've seen them on screen every day.
We used to play this game called 20 Questions.
But how well do you really know your 700 Club hosts?
What do people not know about you?
Lots. Hear their personal stories.
Did they have cartoons when you were little?
That's where they came from when I was little.
And get their secrets.
Your number one pet peeve of all time. The thing that drives you batty.
You're driving in your car.
Well, we're just coming off of a fantastic weekend, a 50th anniversary celebration. It was just wonderful. And I wake up this morning and lo and behold in the news, they're saying we're looking for a double dip recession. The regulatory red tape is killing our economy, and a growing number of small and medium-sized banks may be going out of business.
It's incredible, Pat. In fact, they say that the heavy regulations imposed by a law called Dodd-Frank is actually making it tougher for them to do business. Heather Sells has that story.
For mortgage lender Robin Aukie, the new regulations mean more time for every loan she closes.
So it has probably added, on the average, I'd say minimum 20 to 25 pages for every file that's done.
And Aukie says the extra paperwork translates into an extra hour for every loan. That's time and money lost for her small bank. Her counterpart, commercial lender Derek Tinsley, says the business owners he works with are not happy with the extra work they now have to do to get a loan.
The consumer, they get upset because they feel like they're having to jump through every single hoop. I'm just borrowing $10,000.
At the heart of the matter lies the Dodd-Frank Act. Congress passed it after some of the world's largest financial firms collapsed or came close to in 2008 and 9. Lawmakers hope to reform financial regulation, but in doing so, they created a mountain of new regulatory burdens. Imagine having to decipher more than 4,800 pages of proposed or final rules. The hardest hit? Small and medium-sized banks.
When you have 37 employees and 4,000 pages to read, and you also have to run a bank, how are you going to do that?
Susan Ralston, president of Bank Atlantic, says she had to hire an outside firm just to keep her bank on top of all the new rules. Even so, she says they are not only affecting her lenders, they're affecting her ability to launch new loans.
It will take more time to bring a product to market. And that will affect the consumer because, certain products are rate driven or, just a sign of maybe a cyclical product that needs to be out there. And you might miss the beat.
There is so much concern about banking regulation right now that it has become a presidential campaign issue already. All the GOP candidates say if elected, they will repeal the Dodd-Frank Act.
They have been hearing on the campaign trail from people in the financial industry that this law is very destructive.
Peter Wallison helped to oversee banking deregulation as part of the Reagan administration. And he says presidential politics could make all the difference for this latest regulatory round. Already, the GOP is working to delay implementation of the bill, and if a Republican makes it to the White House in 2012, that could spell the end of Dodd-Frank.
The presidential election is the most important thing that will happen on the question of whether Dodd-Frank survives.
In the meantime, banks across the country must contend not only with regulatory overload, but with an economy that's sputtering at best.
When you go into a meeting with a bunch of bank presidents, it's like everybody needs Prozac or something. It's very depressing because we don't see a big turnaround in our economy yet. We're not feeling it.
And there's concern about the unintended consequences of Dodd-Frank. It could, say bankers, promote the growth of large banks able to absorb all the red tape and lead to the end of hometown banks as we've known them.
I think you're going to have a lot of small banks say, I've just had enough. I can't do this. There's no way I can survive.
Heather Sells, CBN News.
Regulation run amok. And it's not just regulation. It is criminal penalties that have been attached to law after law after law. And I just was reading a couple of days ago that there used to be something called mens rea, which meant that you understood that you were breaking a law, that you were committing a crime. Now, some courts have ruled in some of these laws you don't have to intend anything. It just happens and you go to jail. And there are thousands now, not a few, but thousands of laws that put people in jail. thousands of regulations beyond measure. And Congress, it's just like they went crazy. You turn a bunch of Democrats loose with a Democrat president, and they have socialist tendencies, and they just run amok. And that's what you've had. You know, we had one crazy guy on an airplane with a bomb in his shoe. One. Now, everybody who ever flies an airplane or in the United States got to take his shoes off, or her shoes off. And people going around barefoot and everything on these dirty floors. I mean, it's terrible. One man. You have a couple of businesses like Enron that went sour. And instead of dealing with the problem that we could do that, we have broad, sweeping legislation that locks up the banks and thousands of. So the average person who's looking for a little loan, $10,000, $20,000, can't get the money. The bankers can't handle it. And I say it's just not the Enron thing, it's the financial mess that was there. But why was the mess there? It was there because Barney Frank, the author of Dodd-Frank, insisted on Fannie and Freddie making loans to everybody so that they could spread the joy of homeownership. That's where it came from. It was pressure from the government to do improvident banking. And all of a sudden, we've all got to pay the price for it. We've got to rein that stuff in, ladies and gentlemen. It's serious. It's going to affect your pocketbook and my pocketbook and everybody's pocketbook. Well, Lee Webb has the rest of our top stories from the CBN Newsroom. Lee.
Pat, a highly respected economic research group says the U.S. is slipping into another recession, and there's nothing policymakers can do to head it off. The Economic Cycle Research Institute has correctly predicted the last 3 recessions. It says the upcoming recession means that the jobless rate, already above 9%, will go much higher, and the federal budget deficit, already above $1 trillion, will soar. Pat?
I was talking to our producer earlier today. I said, what are we going to do? And the right answer was that those who've got money are going to make out like bandits. And I don't know if that helps anybody else, but let me warn you right now, if you possibly can, get out of debt, get as liquid as you possibly can, and get ready for some serious economic storms. And they won't just be here in America, it'll be all around the world, because Europe is in serious trouble, and the Chinese may well go into some kind of recession as well. And who is the engine of growth, or where is it? Lee?
Pat, as many as 500 churches across the country took part in Pulpit Freedom Sunday this weekend, a time for pastors to speak freely about political candidates from the pulpit. The IRS bans pastors from supporting or opposing candidates. The goal of this pulpit initiative is to have that law declared unconstitutional. The Alliance Defense Fund started the program in 2008. 33 pastors participated that first year. None of those churches have lost their tax exemptions. Pat?
I've been working on this one we just celebrated 50 years, and I've been at it for probably 45 of those 50. We've been trying to point out the fact that there's something called the Johnson Amendment. Lyndon Johnson got mad at a couple of nonprofits who were going after his senatorial campaign, and he slipped a piece into the Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. It went through without committee discussion, and I don't believe there was much of a debate on the Senate. It was just rolled through the Congress because of his power. And we've been living with that monster ever since. But churches have a right to speak. They shouldn't be muzzled. And the Alliance Defense Fund says, we're going to get a repeal of it. Well, good luck to you in that thing. But who knows? I mean, we might see something. I had gotten something just about teed up, ready to go, until Mr. Gingrich had a thing about getting paid for lectures he made in some nonprofit university down in Georgia, and that blew up. And so everybody says, well, we look like we're partisan. So they decided not to revoke that Johnson Amendment, but it would be just a simple act of Congress and they could get it out. Not many words, just a short little thing has caused a world of hurt to nonprofits. Lee?
Iran's state media is now claiming that Christian pastor Youssef Nader Qadi faces the death penalty for rape and extortion, not apostasy. An Iranian official told state media that he's not being tried for being a Christian. He says the pastor is guilty of security-related crimes. The American Center for Law and Justice posted an English translation of an Iranian Supreme Court ruling on the case. The group says the Iranians may be adding new charges against the pastor or simply just trying to deflect growing international attention. You can follow our updates on this story at cbnnews.com. Pat?
You know, I said this was a public relations disaster for not only Iran, but the whole Islamic world. They say, well, we're a religion of peace, we're tolerant and all this, and here this guy's going to get hanged because he refuses to renounce his Christianity. And the heat is on. Finally, the president came around, and I think Hillary Clinton may be coming late to the party, but she's going to say something. So all of a sudden, the Iranians say, this is a disaster. We'd better back off. So instead of backing off and saying, well, we found that he didn't really violate Islamic principles or whatever they want to say to cover up themselves, they've now said, well, he raped somebody. That man hadn't raped anybody, but it just makes them look silly. But they are so brutal. It is so brutal. Now, this is what happens when you have a theocracy under Islam. This is a theocratic government run by the mullahs. Ahmadinejad is more of a figurehead, and it is not a secular government. It is an Islamic republic, and that's what they call it. And this is the kind of activity that goes on in such a country. Lee?
Defense Secretary Leon Panetta warns that Israel is becoming isolated in the Middle East. He says the nation jeopardizes its own security if it does not reach out to its neighbors. Panetta says Israel needs to restart Palestinian peace talks and should work to restore its relationship with Egypt and Turkey. Panetta made the comments Sunday on his way to Israel. He will meet with Israeli and Palestinian leaders this week. His visit comes as Middle East negotiators push for a peace deal by the end of next year. Millions of Christians around the world joined the Global Day of Prayer for the Peace of Jerusalem Sunday. Julie Stahl tells us why this year's event took on special significance.
This is the day of prayer for the peace of Jerusalem.
Hundreds of Christians in Jerusalem joined participants from 175 nations and more than 300,000 churches for this year's event. The inspiration comes from Psalm 122, verse 6, which says, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper who love you." Organizers say the event is the largest Jerusalem-focused prayer initiative in the world. Robert Stearns told CBN News prayer is especially important now due to the growing tension between Israel and its neighbors and enemies.
We've got to pray for truth and discernment, and that's why I encourage people to become educated on these issues.
Knesset member Gila Gamliel says she came to bless the Christians.
I want to thank all of them about all their support and the prayer, and this is why we are very strong here in Israel.
Columnist Michael Freund says it's very moving to see such strong solidarity with Christians around the world.
All of us who love Israel and support Israel, now is the time to turn to the Creator and to plead with Him to have mercy on His people Israel.
Reverend David Pelegi says God loves the Jewish people, so Christians should too.
Probably one of the most important things we can do for the Jewish people, and one of the most practical things we can do, is pray.
Stearns says the way the world looks at Jerusalem daily is almost lifted from the pages of Scripture.
I certainly believe we're living in prophetic times. Surely part of what God's saying to the church today in the world has to do with the city of Jerusalem.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
And Pat, back to you.
Thanks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our prayers are with our Jewish friends, and I see storm clouds rising over that country in Israel, and they need the prayers of all God's people. And this day of prayer was wonderful, organized by thousands and thousands of churches all over the world. Christine?
Absolutely, Pat. That's why we're going to continue to pray for that wonderful country all week. Well, coming up, we're going to take you on a top secret mission in South Korea, where a simple thing like a shift in the wind could actually spell failure.
Hi there, neighbor. Pat Boone here from my good friends at Swiss America, the company that makes retirement dreams come true with gold. A lot of folks are shifting a portion of their retirement funds into a new precious metals IRA with Swiss America. And since 2004, these IRAs are up in value over 150%. I've been a very satisfied client of Swiss America for many years now because they believe in honesty, fair prices, and superior service. It's time to put your financial future on a gold standard right now. I own gold because it's a hedge of protection for my family. Even my grandkids can see that our paper money is becoming less valuable every day. So call or visit Swiss America now. Ask for the Pat Boone free DVD and gold IRA kit. Get the best education you can on gold, the best asset to own during these uncertain times. Call or visit online now.
When you look in the mirror, can you imagine erasing years of aging? That's what I used to look like. Lifestyle Lift takes only about an hour. See the difference immediately.
I'm Linda. I'm 70 years old. Can you believe it?
Call now for a free information kit. It's quick, affordable, and takes only about an hour. Lifestyle Lift, a breakthrough medical procedure that helps remove wrinkles, frown lines, and sagging skin. Call now for a free information kit. Consultations are free. Call Lifestyle Lift today.
Tomorrow,
they're taking my son away from me.
they take children in SWAT-style raids and answer to no government.
They just made their own laws.
The German agency that has its citizens cowering in fear. Plus,
I'm playing a kid's game, and they're paying me for it.
The NFL player who almost wasn't.
My college coach said, you're going to fail out of school.
How he got a second chance on tomorrow's 700 Club.
Well, we've had many times to show you the horrors that take place in North Korea. I was there I was in North Korea during the Korean War above the 38th parallel with the United States Marine Corps, and that was a job we didn't finish. It was a mistake. There have been several of these so-called police actions that we haven't finished, and when we don't finish them, like General MacArthur said, not Dwight MacArthur, Douglas MacArthur. He said, in war, there's no substitute for victory. You either fight to win or you don't fight at all. But we fought Korea not to win, but to have a stalemate, and we had one. We're still paying for it. When it comes to human rights, North Korea, which we left there, is the worst of the worst. For Christians in that little tiny country, believing in God could carry a death sentence. Now, one group is taking action with an aerial assault. It's very creative, a way to open up a closed country. Our George Thomas went to the South Korea for an exclusive look at their operation.
Just before sun, a van load of Christians from Seoul heads north. We cannot show you their faces or reveal their names.
What we're doing could get us into trouble.
Where are we going today?
We're going here, some 4 miles from the North Korean border and close to the demilitarized zone.
The demilitarized zone, or DMZ, is one of the most heavily fortified and potentially dangerous places on Earth.
We'll just wait up here at the top of the stairs, sir.
1 million armed North Korean troops stand ready on their side of the DMZ. The South has just as many.
And as we get ready to head to this particular location, one factor that could ruin this whole thing is the weather.
One slight change in the wind direction could mess up the mission.
Peter has dubbed this Operation Dandelion.
We started this project back in 1991, and just as a dandelion needs the wind to spread its seed, we need the wind to spread the message.
That message is the Word of God, printed in the Korean language on thousands of bright orange balloons.
It's almost impossible to get Bibles into North Korea, so using balloons is one of the most effective ways to share the gospel.
A tank in the back of the van pumps helium into the balloons. The team works quickly, all the time keeping tabs on the wind direction. Prayers are whispered over each balloon. And then the release. A few minutes later, the balloons begin their slow drift across North Korean airspace.
By sending these balloons, we let our North Korean brothers and sisters know that we are praying for them, and the scriptures on the balloons are meant to encourage them.
The earnest prayers begin here at this undisclosed location in Seoul. Every week since 1991, 78-year-old Oh Mon-duk, along with a handful of other believers, has been preparing each balloon for the flight into North Korea.
I was born in North Korea. This is my way of helping to get the gospel back to my countrymen.
And the process is almost done. They're just putting the final touches to today's balloon operation. In essence, this is how it works. They have a hole in here that they fill helium in, put a tape around it, and then off it goes into the skies of North Korea.
The helium will leak out of the balloon and eventually fall to the ground. And when someone picks it up, they'll be able to read all 16 chapters of the Book of Mark.
Peter used boats in the past with other groups to launch balloon offensives from the sea. These balloons are larger and contain a small radio, a Bible, and other Christian literature. In addition to the balloon operation, Peter's group organizes a weekly radio broadcast that's recorded in Seoul, then transmitted over medium and shortwave frequencies into North Korea.
The radio broadcast is like a regular church service with worship and preaching of the word. The North Korean government routinely tries to jam our signal, but we have other methods of getting the message across.
And this is what motivates the team. CBN News obtained exclusive audio recordings and photographs of secret underground church meetings inside North Korea. And when a North Korean accepts Jesus Christ, he or she will face persecution, imprisonment, and possibly death because of their faith. Peter gave CBN News footage that apparently aired on a Japanese television channel, allegedly showing the execution of North Korean Christians. Trying to get precise figures on the number of Christians today in North Korea is extremely difficult.
Based on data gathered from North Korean defectors and international human rights groups, we estimate there are approximately 30,000 Christians being held in political prison camps and about 10,000 underground believers who are in hiding throughout the country.
Back along a stretch of the North-South Korean border, it's a little past midnight. Using the cover of darkness, Peter's team continued to deploy hundreds of balloons at multiple locations. Today, the wind conditions have been good.
Often the winds will change suddenly and we have to wait. Sometimes we come back the next day. We are persistent. People's lives are on the line. We will continue to do this and continue to pray until North Korea is free and the Christians can worship Jesus Christ without fear.
George Thomas, CBN News, somewhere near the North Korean border.
After the Korean War, General MacArthur wanted to win that thing. He knew it was a peninsula. It could be cut off, and we could have gone up to the so-called Yellow River and established a beachhead. But Harry Truman thought that the Chinese would get upset about that, and so he told MacArthur to stop it. And as a result, MacArthur got fired, and we stopped the war and settled on the 38th parallel, and they began to negotiate at a place called Panmunjom. Well, what happened? The North came into the orbit of Russia, and the Russians picked up a lieutenant colonel, I think he was, and Kim Il-sung, and said, okay, you're in charge of North Korea. Before it's finished, that man has been made like a deity, and his son, Kim Jong-il, is this pudgy little dictator who's running the country. Great luxury for the army, great luxury for him and his family. He fancies French wine, and he likes European prostitutes and that sort of thing. And yet the people are starving. They don't have enough food to eat. It has just been hell on earth. And Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, at one time, per capita, had more churches than any other city on earth. there was a tremendous revival in that area. That country belongs to God, and it's time to claim it again for Him. But that's the history. It's a sad history, and to think that a lieutenant colonel put in by the Russians suddenly becomes like a deity. I mean, it's just sickening to see what's happened to those poor people. And so a few balloons, yeah, but sooner or later, I've never wanted to go to war because they threatened Seoul. They're right on the border, and they could come into Seoul and overrun it. But the way to take care of this would be simple. If the South Koreans would open their country to refugees from the North and say, we will not deport you. If you come in from China or wherever you come in, you can come into South Korea and we'll make a place for you. If we did that, or they did that, the whole country of North Korea would be depopulated. There wouldn't be any people left for those dictators to milk for their money. And when that happens, that regime would collapse. It would be that simple. But the South Koreans don't want to do it because they don't want to have a war. And in a sense, you can't blame them for not wanting their big city of Seoul to get overrun. But nevertheless, that's the truth of the matter. And pray. If you can ever pray for somebody, think of those poor, suffering, persecuted, starving people whose only offense is that they love Jesus Christ. Christy?
Thank you so much, Pat. Well, speaking of loving Jesus Christ, we celebrated Jesus Christ over the weekend with CBN's 50th anniversary. And one of the things that we did was we had some fun with the hosts. We're going to switch gears a little bit because I got a pop question for you, a pop quiz for you. Which one of the 700 Club hosts actually once tried to blow up a car? And which one can do the best Elmer Fudd impression? I know these are crazy questions, but I asked them when I played a fun game with them called Getting to Know Your Host. You're going to find out the answer when we come back.
Welcome to Preview Weekend.
Welcome to Preview Weekend.
Welcome to Preview Weekend.
Regent University is amazing.
You can't understand the university unless you visited and met the people.
I felt a sense of peace walking around the campus.
And I just said to myself, that's something I have to check out.
Your calling, your purpose, your future. Find your place at Regent University Preview Weekend. Call 800-373-5504 or visit www.regent.edu/preview. Join us November 10th through 12th for Preview Weekend.
Hello? Hey, handsome.
The McCann twins for Consumer Cellular.
Where are you? On the street. I got a new cell phone from Consumer Cellular.
They're all the same.
Not true.
They're complicated,
but
expensive. Long-term contracts, cancellation fees.
My plan is just $10 a month.
$10 a month?
I didn't have to sign a contract. There are no cancellation fees.
Yeah, but
and I even got a free phone.
And when were you going to tell me about this?
Call or go to ConsumerCellularTV.com now for no contract plan starting at $10 a month, a free phone, and a 30-day risk-free money-back guarantee. Shipping is free.
Let's call and get your free phone.
Consumer Cellular is the exclusive wireless provider for AARP members who get special benefits and discounts.
My first call.
Hello? Hey, ugly.
Call 1-800-368-6425 or log on to ConsumerCellularTV.com.
To see this week's top on-demand videos, go to CBN.com.
I tell you, our staff here at CBN is nothing short of awesome, and I was so proud of them this past weekend. We marked our 50th broadcast anniversary. We went on the air October 1, 1960.
I don't know. Don't ask my brain's tired. Don't ask me to do
All right,
that.
50 years ago. And the event included fun and games with concerts and fireworks and a rousing message from my good friend Reinhard Bonnke. Here are some highlights from our golden celebration.
On October 1st, 1961, CBN broadcast its first television program from an old studio in Portsmouth, Virginia. This past Saturday marked 50 years of broadcasting for CBN, and people came far and wide to help us celebrate.
Can you say super book? They're so cute. Thousands have gathered here on the CBN Region campus to enjoy the festivities. There's something for everyone, with music from Mercy Me and Diamond Rio to hot air balloon rides and even a petting zoo.
The celebration continued into the evening. CBN founder Pat Robertson shared with those gathered.
Give the Lord praise. Thank you. It seems like a dream. Yet we started. God called me to come down here. He said, I want you to claim the airwaves and take them from the prince of the power of the air and give them to the Prince of Peace.
Notable speakers included Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell and evangelist Reinhard Bonnke.
There are so few celebrations like this where 50 years from the inception of an organization that the founder is still here, still in the job, still leading with the same vision that he gave birth to the organization some 50 years ago. I'm particularly impressed because I can't keep a job for more than 4 years. Pat, I'm really impressed.
We serve a mighty God. Our God can shrink time. And I believe what we have heard today and seen today with CBN and the ministry of Pat Robertson is going to multiply. He will be looked upon as a forerunner of a new generation.
The evening closed with a spectacular fireworks display.
50 years we give him praise. It's his doing. God is good. All the time.
Wow.
Oh, we had Boom Boom. Boom Boom Zambelli with fireworks. He outdid himself. I mean, the Zambelli people, oh, they're great. Everything was so good. We had a celebration of Rosh Hashanah on Thursday. Then Friday night, we had a black tie dinner from our donors and friends and staff. And we had the international directors come in. And then on Saturday, it was like a medieval fair with all the region came. And we had everything you've ever heard of, including motorcycles. And I understand these motorcycle guys, they're on the edge of the property.
Yeah.
I don't want to, it's either the 160 or 170 people, they led to the Lord. People stopped along the way and said, what are you guys doing with all these motorcycles?
Wow.
And they led them to Jesus.
Incredible.
On the road.
And come on now.
Oh, man.
I tell you.
It was fun. Okay, but you've helped make it possible. Thank you for all of our donors. And you're just speechless. It's been so absolutely wonderful.
It was. And you know what, Pat? I was saying this during the commercial break that I was in awe and I was humbled by it because just to see on so many different levels, just to see the impact that this ministry has had on people around the world, because people around the world came, but then we had, people from California and Connecticut, and all these people kept coming up saying, I came here just to celebrate with you. And it was humbling. It was humbling. And it's exciting just to know where the Lord is going to take this. Well, listen, CBN wouldn't have made it 50 years if it were not for you, our viewers, and if you hadn't invited us all into your homes. And while may know a little bit of details about some of the hosts, how well do you actually know us? Okay, so I thought I was going to have some fun. I recently harassed Terry, Pat, and Gordon. I put them on the spot and, kind of forced them to answer some questions that we've all wanted to know and some that you would never, ever imagine. Take a look. So for the past 50 years, you've watched the host of CBN interview all kinds of people, minister to the nations, and even share a personal story or two. But do you really know them?
Like, does this health nut actually have a secret closet filled with Twinkies and ho-hos? Or is this mother of 7 really a wild chick who rides a Harley on the weekends? And does this ministry man actually have a side job as a stand-up comic? I don't know, but today we're gonna find out with Getting to Know Your Hosts.
All right, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna have fun with you. Ready, Pat?
All right, go.
Okay, so when we were little, we used to play this game called 20 Questions.
All right, let's go.
You ready?
Okay.
Your favorite movie?
I think Braveheart was the best one.
Favorite cereal?
Yeah, Oat Bran.
That couldn't be your favorite cereal. That might be like your favorite healthy cereal, but say that health wasn't an issue and you just wanted that good, kind of like Cap'n Crunch.
Oatmeal.
What is your favorite cereal? Be honest, Terry.
Sugar Coat shredded wheat.
I actually used to eat Wheaties because I bought into the whole lie that it would make you more athletic.
Sugar-coated wanted shredded wheat. You mean frosted shredded wheat?
Yeah, frosted. That would be it. That would be.
Your favorite cartoon that you watched when you were little, like your all-time favorite?
Oh, dear.
Did they have cartoons when you were little?
That's where they came from when I was little.
Your favorite all-time cartoon?
Bugs Bunny. Absolutely.
Can you do the voice?
I can do Elmer.
Here he comes to save the day. Mighty Mouse. I grew up with Mighty Mouse.
Be very, very quiet. We're hunting rabbits.
It's rabbit season.
Poor little Bonnie.
I didn't expect that. Ooh, your favorite food of all time?
It was fried chicken. Not KFC, but Pat Robertson fried chicken.
You can make fried chicken?
Of course.
And it's good?
Delicious.
Your favorite sound?
Sound.
Sound?
Favorite sound?
I like rain.
I don't know if I have a favorite sound.
Tijuana Brass.
Tijuana Brass, is that a band?
You don't know?
No, what's
Where
Tijuana?
have you been?
I don't, what's Tijuana Brass? Just tell me, Pat, what is it?
It's a band.
Okay.
Do you remember?
I was they were big.
Tijuana Brass.
All right. Okay. Your number one pet peeve of all time?
Oh, man.
The thing that drives you batty.
You know when you're driving in your car and you're at the stop sign and some person next to you has like the boom box of the century in their trunk?
Bureaucratic stupidity. I think that is.
I actually try not to be driven batty.
We all have a pet peeve, Gordon. You have to have a pet peeve. I was thinking about that question myself, and I thought, when people spit in public, I hate when people spit in public. Men are like, and spit. I hate that.
Where do you like hang out in a gym or something?
If there was anybody in the world, past or present, like dead, like a person you think, man, that would be so cool if I ever got a chance to meet him. Who would you want to meet?
Oh, I'm looking right at him and I can't.
Describe him.
I would want to meet the Apostle Paul, and then and the Apostle John.
South Africa.
Oh, Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela.
I was trying to think of his name, and I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, I would love to meet Nelson Mandela.
I'd probably enjoy having a conversation with Albert Einstein. If he could put up with me, I think it'd be fun.
Das ist gut, Pat Robertson.
If you were a superhero and you could have any power, what would it be?
Wisdom.
I think it would be have the power to be able to come up in the midst of somebody who is doing something really wicked and just touch them and have them freeze.
I tell you what, my lifelong prayer has been wisdom. Lord, give me wisdom.
That was better than mine. Mine was to fly. Okay. All right, Terry, craziest thing you've ever done that you can say on TV.
We don't have long enough.
I don't know that I'm going there, girl.
It's under the blood of Jesus, so you can tell me. Come on, pre-Miss America. Gosh, come on, Terry. Did you steal a car? Did you pee on someone's lawn?
I'll tell you one from when I was little.
Okay.
Mom parked the car outside the grocery store, and she went in to buy groceries. And the car was on a slope. And I got in my head that I was good enough to drive. And I think I was 5.
Oh, shut up.
And I got over in the driver's seat, and I put that car in neutral. And it started backing out into the main road. My feet couldn't reach the brake. And
so was Dee Dee running after you?
It was a panic moment.
I can imagine. Did you get beat when you got home?
I got beat right there.
I don't even remember, but I did a lot of crazy stuff. But I think when I was a little kid, I think the dumbest thing I ever did when I was a little kid, my father had a car parked in the garage and the gas tank was leaking. And I took a match to see if I couldn't set it on fire, see if it would blow up.
Shut up.
Yeah, but it didn't.
Praise God. What do people not know about you?
Lots.
I'm a quiet person. Like my husband says, I'm the only person who can spend 8 hours in the car and never turn on a CD or the radio. I mean, I really like peace. And when I listen to music, I like it to be peaceful music that allows me to think.
What's the one thing that no one knows about you that if they did know, that they would probably be like, really?
I can't answer that. I take the fifth. I don't.
I'm going to tell one of your secrets.
You're going to tell one of my secrets. All right, go ahead.
You're a jazz man. That sometimes in your office, you will crank up the jazz. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer this one. I just thought about it.
What's that?
Do you remember the first time you kissed a girl?
Well, there were so many times. No, I don't remember. There were a number of them.
Okay, so since you love music so much, can you play music?
I played the piano for years.
Play any other instruments?
I played the trombone.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, back in the day. First chair in the regional band.
Were you really? I was first chair clarinet.
All right, who knew
First
that?
seat, first chair. Thank you very
knew
much. Ooh, okay. Your favorite Bible scripture?
I guess Romans 8:28. God works everything together for good to them that love Him.
No, I got two.
Okay.
One is I will never leave you nor forsake you. That's,
I do love this one, Philippians 4:19. My God shall supply all your needs according to His glorious riches in Christ Jesus.
the second one is Luke chapter 10, verse 2. The harvest is great, but the laborers are few.
Yeah.
Therefore, pray to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into His harvest.
Last question.
What?
Pat, what is your proudest moment?
Proudest moment.
I haven't had it yet.
Really?
Each time we added someone to our family, you know, there was a sense of like a holy wow.
No, I'm actually looking forward to it. The day that Superbook finally releases and is broadcast, and we start getting the reports back of the kids who are getting saved.
I think as I look back, when we dedicated our center here, Billy Graham spoke. We had the Virginia Symphony. We had all these wonderful singers. We had fireworks, and it was the start of a whole new era of ministry. I think that probably was the top from now.
Okay, so it's been 50 years, and you've seen where the ministry has gone.
Mm-hmm.
What's your heart for where you want the ministry to go?
For me, the next step in the growth cycle of CBN is to see some of the regional centers that we've established their own centers. Mm-hmm. And I want us to finish. I want to see every nation, every tribe, every tongue.
I like it. All right, I'm done. That was kind of fun.
Is that fun?
You did good with those questions. Yay! Love you, cute.
So there you have it, your faithful servants, Pat, Terry, and Gordon. Now you know your hosts.
Wasn't that fun?
That was, gosh, those questions, like who thinks of that stuff?
I was laying in bed thinking of them. But see, this is my whole thought process. It's kind of like, these are things that no one knows about us.
Yeah.
And I mean, but they
Do you think they care?
Well, wasn't
that was fun.
That was fun.
Did you mind me harassing you, Pat?
No, it was fun. It was out there, it was all pretty and nice, lovely day, and you did good.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Well, you know what my goal was for that?
Embarrasses.
Yeah, that too. No, but my goal is, you know, I obviously I've worked with you guys for years, and Terry and Gordon, and there's so much that no one really sees in your heart and your humor and just your love, and I wanted to express that.
Well, you were very sweet.
Well,
nice.
you know,
okay.
Good deal. Well, we're going to switch gears a little bit from the fun to something a little bit more serious. Still ahead. She survived the Holocaust. Now she struggles to get around the house. Hear how she's actually getting the help she needs later on today's program.
If you're the mother of a child with behavior problems, I'd like to talk to you. My name is Janet Lehman, and I'm a behavioral therapist and a mom. I know what it's like when the child that you love becomes a defiant, out-of-control child who disrespects you. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the program that tens of thousands of moms are now using to turn around their child's behavior. If you've heard about the Total Transformation and wondered if it will work for you, now you can try it for free. I'm willing to give away 1,000 programs today for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. We'll let you keep it for free. I know the Total Transformation works because I used these techniques with my own son and with troubled kids for over 30 years. Let me prove to you that it works by giving you the program free.
Call the number on your screen now to get the Total Transformation free.
Something inside of me just told me I need to get checked out. The doctor said we found something and we need to get into surgery.
Beth Gomez had stage 3 colon cancer.
That's when we scheduled an appointment for a second opinion at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
To find out more about treatment options for complex and late-stage cancer, go to cancercenter.com. You'll be able to see our treatment results for many types of cancers and how they compare to national averages. You can also check for participating insurance plans. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, every resource, every one of us, everything we do every day is focused on you, our patient, your treatment, your healing, your survival.
You had a whole team. I wasn't just going to fight this battle. They were going to stand beside me and fight it.
Our physicians, clinicians, and nurses are highly experienced and dedicated. We use state-of-the-art technology and give you treatment options you may not even know exist.
Cancer makes you really appreciate what's important in your life.
Please call or go to cancercenter.com today. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Welcome back to the 700 Club. The Christian film Courageous had a strong debut at this weekend's box office. The movie finished number 5 with $8.8 million, but the film was number 1 in terms of earnings per theater, bringing in nearly $7,600 at each movie house. Other films made more money because they played on 2 to 3 times as many screens. The film is an action-packed police drama. It tells the story of a police officer who excels at work but struggles to connect with his teenage son at home. The film was produced by filmmakers at Sherwood Baptist Church in Albany, Georgia. They also made Fireproof and Facing the Giants. CBN launches the 700 Club Canada today. The new series is produced by and for Canadians. It will air weekdays nationwide on both Joy TV and Vision TV. The 700 Club Canada is much like this program, only geared toward a Canadian audience. Hosting the new series is Brian Warren there on the left and Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson. Warren is a former professional football player, and Laura Lynn is a nationally known television host. CBN's goal is that the program will act as an inspiration and faith builder across Canada. You can find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by logging onto our website at cbn.com/international. Pat and Christy will be back after this.
When you look in the mirror, can you imagine erasing years of aging?
That's what I used to look like.
Lifestyle Lift takes only about an hour. See the difference immediately.
I'm Linda. I'm 70 years old. Can you believe it?
Call now for a free information kit. It's quick, affordable, and takes only about an hour. Lifestyle Lift, a breakthrough medical procedure that helps remove wrinkles, frown lines, and sagging skin. Call now for a free information kit. Consultations are free. Call Lifestyle Lift today.
Well, the Holocaust may have ended 60 years ago, but Elena Yulfi still remembers it every day because she's one of the survivors.
In June of 1942, Sarah Gut and her family were rounded up by Nazi soldiers and sent to a Jewish ghetto in Ukraine. Almost 70 years later, Sarah still carries the scars of the Holocaust.
We were constantly beaten by the whips. They also had terrible dogs. I was beaten by a dog here.
Life in the ghetto was brutal, but for Sarah, the escape was even worse.
When the Germans fled, they bombed us a lot. In one bombing, we ran outside, and my husband was killed right away. I fell into a basement with my child, who died next.
For 3 days, Sarah was buried alive. She never fully recovered from her injuries, and today, it's hard for her to get out of bed. Like many Holocaust survivors in Israel, Sarah lives below the poverty line. That's why Operation Blessing Israel is reaching out to help.
Many of them were only able to immigrate to Israel in 1989. When they were able to come, they were much older. Many of them were not able to work, and they weren't able to speak the language. So not only did they come with nothing, but when they arrived here, they weren't able to provide for themselves.
Most of Sarah's small pension goes to medicine, and there's not much left for food. So once a month, she makes a list, and a team from Operation Blessing buys her groceries. Sarah looks forward to the visits from her new friends.
They know that we're Christian, and they welcome us. There's something that happens, and I think it's reconciliation, isn't it? And it's certainly what Jesus calls us to.
Thank you. We are not many of us left alive. I don't know how to thank you for remembering us.
Sometimes that's what all of us want, is just to be remembered, to be acknowledged, and to be loved. And you do that when you become a 700 Club partner, because you really are the love of Jesus Christ. You are his arms extended. You are his heart that envelops people. So please, if you're not a 700 Club partner, we're encouraging you to become one now. It's just 65 cents a day, $20 a month. And if you already are a partner, thank you so much. Listen, we want to encourage you that when you do pick up the phone and call, we want to give you this. It's called Signs of the Times. It's actually our latest DVD that both Pat and Gordon have put together. You know, these days, whether it's the economy or if you look at the weather or natural disasters, you have a lot of us thinking, what in the world is going on? And how does what's going on affect my life? Well, Pat answers those very questions in this. This is our gift to you. So call us right now to become a 700 Club partner and join us in just reaching the nation with the love of Jesus Christ. Once again, 1-800-759-0700 or log on to cbn.com. Pat?
Thanks. You know, yesterday there was a massive prayer for Israel for thousands of churches all around the world. And the state of Israel right now is celebrating the Jewish New Year, which started with Rosh Hashanah. This is a year that's shaping up to be one of the most eventful in modern history of that nation. And as that little country fights for survival, helping them fight is Susan Michael, a director with International Christian Embassy Jerusalem. She joins us now. It's good to have you with us. Thank you.
Pat, it's wonderful to be here.
Thank you.
And especially on the occasion of your 50th anniversary, because I get to say congratulations.
Thank you.
But I also get to say thank you for all that CBN has done to support Israel, to educate us Christians about Israel and the Middle East. You all have done a wonderful job, and we just thank you.
You're living in Jerusalem now, right?
I live in Washington, D.C., but I go back and forth. Our headquarters is in Jerusalem.
I keep asking Chris Mitchell, our reporter, what are the Israeli people saying? There's a terrific amount of pressure against that little nation now.
There is. I will say that within the last week, there have been an overwhelming sigh of relief that the United States stood firmly with them last week at the United Nations. They said that Obama finally said everything that they were waiting to hear him say. So there was a big sigh of relief in that regard. They need America's friendship just like we need their friendship.
Sure.
But secondly, they're very concerned because all of this attention on Palestinian statehood has taken the attention off of the real problem, and that's Iran and their quest for nuclear weapons and their threats to wipe out Israel. So this is really a big concern for all Israelis.
I think the Israelis might be forced to make some preemptive strike against those Iranian nuclear facilities.
Well, as everyone says, all options are on the table.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm sure that it would be the last thing that they would want to do. But it's a very serious threat, though.
You know, Mahmoud Abbas has talked about a Palestinian state, but they didn't bring the Israelis in to discuss it. It was kind of like, we're going to do this and we're going to take Jerusalem. What do you think the Israelis are going to do? What is your read from your perspective?
Well, it's so crazy because Israel's blamed for the lack of Palestinian statehood. Yet for 2 years, Netanyahu has begged them to come negotiate so they can have the state, but they won't do it. And of course, the problem is that they don't want to have to recognize the existence of Israel. So they're trying now, cleverly, to get a state without ever recognizing that Israel exists, and that's by going straight to the United Nations.
Well, they talk about that right of return. Of course, all the Arabs that lived in Palestine for 50 years or 60 or 70 years were suddenly brought back in. I mean, they'd overwhelm the Jews. And that's what they want. That's what the Jews can't have.
Well, you want to hear something crazier?
No, what's that?
The Palestinian Authority just said that when they get statehood, they are not going to give citizenship to any refugees living inside the West Bank. You know, there are refugee camps inside the West Bank.
Still.
They're not going to give them citizenship because they want to keep them as a political problem that they can pressure Israel about.
You know, those camps are run by something called the United Nations Works Agency, and no time, nowhere have they kept people in refugee camps for 60, 70 years. It's just insane what they're doing.
Not only that, they don't give successive generations refugee status. So UNRWA has actually made the problem many times over, many times worse than what it would have been had they been treated as regular refugees under the UNHCR.
Well, if they had been, then of course they'd have been resettled throughout the Arab world, I guess.
Exactly.
There's plenty of room to accommodate them.
Yes, and there's international protocols for how you treat refugees and what you do with them, but the Palestinians ended up with their own UN agency with their own protocols.
It's insanity.
It is.
I think the average person in America doesn't even realize that anymore, because unless I was over there, and it's so astounding, you can't believe it's happening.
Well, look, and Pat, we care about the refugees.
Yeah, sure.
There's nothing worse than the way they're living and have to live. We all want to see their situation solved. But the UNRWA is just allowing it to continue and continue it. They're not solving the problem.
Well, what are you folks doing, the Christian Embassy? What's going on these days?
Well, I tell you, we're working night and day, 24 hours around the clock, to do everything that we can just to show Israel she's got friends in the Christian community. So we're there providing humanitarian aid. We help with Aliyah. We have prayer campaigns. We have partnerships with Israeli institutions like the Jerusalem Post or Yad Vashem. And we're helping Holocaust survivors just like CBN is in Operation Blessing. We just built a home for Holocaust survivors in Haifa. So we're very busy doing everything we can because we want Israel to know that they have friends in the Christian community.
Somebody wants to help what you're doing. How do they get hold of you?
Well, our website is www.icej.org, and they can make a donation online, or they can call our office at 615-895-9830.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, I appreciate you being here. And folks here at CBN, we're going to continue to pray for Israel. We invite you to join us by logging on to our website. And beginning today, we'll be streaming our chapels live on CBN.com with special guest speakers, ongoing prayer for the nation of Israel. Well, that's all the time we've got. We appreciate Susan being here with us. Tomorrow, the coach of the BCS national champion Auburn Tigers revealed what was inside his winning playbook last year. And we leave you to these words from 2 Corinthians, for no matter how many promises God has made, they are yes in Christ. Thanks for being with us, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Tomorrow.
They're taking my son away from me.
They take children in SWAT-style raids and answer to no government.
They just made their own laws.
The German agency that has its citizens cowering in fear. Plus,
I'm playing a kid's game, and they're paying me for it.
The NFL player who almost wasn't.
My college coach said, you're going to fail out of school.
How he got a second chance on tomorrow's 700 Club.
We live in uncertain times. There are wars and rumors of wars, economic distress, unprecedented natural disasters, and unimaginable famine. But were today's headlines written thousands of years ago? Are these the signs of the last days that biblical prophets foretold? And how will it all end?
In Signs of the Times, the 700 Club brings you crucial information along with important teachings by Pat and Gordon Robertson that will prepare you for what lies ahead. You'll learn about events that point to the return of Jesus Christ, the rapture, and who will be saved, the signs of the Antichrist, and the role of Israel in the last days.
I want you to understand what the Bible has to say about the end of the age, so that you and your loved ones will be prepared for the days to come.
Signs of the Times, available now.